Hello and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. My name is Spanj and Happy New Year first of all. Happy 2020 to everybody, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday season if you had a holiday at all. If not, welcome back. Welcome back everybody. Welcome back to another 10 must-have blueprints video as well, and this is the CPU edition. So I have trawled through the Steam workshop to find you some interesting, unique, very good builds that are all CPU compliant and all have some unique sort of functions and things like that. Well, some of them do anyway. Anyway, I'm going to list them out in no particular order. Nobody has sent me these, nobody has asked me to review these or whatever. They're just ones that I've picked up from the workshop, okay, that I think are worth a look, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments as always what are your favorite builds and things like that, and yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what you think about these ones as well. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into it, shall we? First on our list here is the HF TMP Outpost by Kith'saa, and this is a unlock level 7 size class 6 base with CPU tier 2. Unbelievably tier 2. Let me just show you, I'm not lying, actually tier 2. This is a big base. This is a good looking base, and it's somehow tier 2. So well done, Kith'saa. That's pretty awesome work. It's very well equipped as well, but it is a little bit confusing because it's actually marketed as a trade outpost, but it's not submitted as a POI, but could very easily and quite happily turn it into a sort of Polaris trade POI type thing. Anyway, as you can see probably already, visually this place is absolutely stunning. Kith'saa's done a fantastic job of using the block shapes, textures and color schemes to build a great looking base here. You notice as well the solar panels on top and on either side mean that you probably want to set it down in a north facing orientation on the equator, with this end here facing north, and then you'll probably get the best solar coverage for this solar layout that you can possibly get. Alternatively, you could just take the solar panels off and relay them down in whatever direction you need to, but then you will be messing with the aesthetics of this base, and it does look pretty. It looks really pretty. Yeah, the use of blocks, shapes, I've said it already, it's a good looker. I love this little HV kind of loading bay as well, with a little roof over the top. It's very nice, and this is adjacent to 3 storage pods that are all 320,000 SU storage, so max storage. 3 pods there on the outside, which is nice. You've got some more RP value out here as well, with these O2 tanks and fuel tanks exposed to the elements outside of the base. But you might also notice there's no guns on this thing either. It's completely unarmed, and that might explain why he's able to get it down at tier 2 perhaps. Anyway, it's a trade outpost, so why should it be armed? If you did want to add some guns to it, it's quite easily just to add some guns, little posts on the corners on the outside, just using the connect to base functionality. So overall, I think this is a pretty good player base. But yeah, the RP value is through the roof. Should we have a quick look inside? Just come out of God mode here. Nice little welcome sign on the entrance. We've got a nice little reception area. I love the use of these pillar blocks for light trusses down here. I think that's really clever, really nice. The color schemes and everything in here is really nice. Even the default blue carpet floor, I'm happy with that. You've got some great LCD work in here as well, all adding to that RP value. And yeah, clever use of things like railing blocks up the side of those stairs, just give the room some extra height and make it feel higher. And yeah, just interior design skills through the roof here. Got some signage, more LCD work, little kitchen area. Great use of the lighting blocks with this kitchen unit, makes it look accessible from both sides. And we're going to go through this door first of all, which takes us through to production area, where we've got a few constructors. That's a large, not an advanced. Repair, armor locker O2, more LCD stuff. Let's have a quick look down here. This little pit thing where the generator is looks great. Really good lighting, makes it look all radioactive and dangerous. Through here, we've got our 2 sets of 9 farm and a nice little gantry over the top. Again, really clever use of space in here. Use of these half blocks. The railings on this walkway up here look amazing. Really, really good work. Fridge in here as well, and a nice little switch for the grow lights. This door goes back out towards the HV landing area that we were at earlier. Go back on ourselves and then up this little elevator here. This takes us into a little lounge area. Also then into a quarters kind of room where we've got a bunk. Some nice use of rounded blocks and windows here to make this look really spacious and nice. Curved door into the bathroom, very nice. And then this door here takes us across the gantry over the production area and then over the farms that we were in earlier. And this doesn't really go anywhere, it just goes into a little utility space with fuel tanks, O2, Wi-Fi, and a little look down into the reception area. And that's it. You probably never use this space. If you were using it as a base, you would probably never ever come up here. But for roleplay value, it's great. And again, more signage on the walls. Sort of playing into that kind of set that it is a trade station. This little walkway here comes out, nice little glass seating area, but it goes all the way around the outside to the core room. I've got a little control room in here. Again, fantastic use of blocks, space, everything in between. The core and the extender with room to expand on and upgrade to tier 3 and 4 if necessary. So you can add, as you grow in the game, as you develop and get more resources, guns and more expensive toys and stuff into this game, and expand its CPU as you go. Up these stairs we've got a nice little sort of control area / lounge. We've got an admin's quarters, which has got some great carpet. But yeah, very nice little quarters here. And if we go up these stairs, well, first of all we've got the Sky Lounge sign and the floating away there, and then yes, we've got a very nice looking, well lit, comfortable lounge area with views out over the lakes, the solar panels, and of course this comes out to a balcony on top, which is very nice. So yeah, there we go. That is a very, very nicely put together, very attractive base. With some great practical elements. Now there are some things missing. Like I said, there are guns missing, so it can't defend itself. There's also no SV landing pad, but if you are used to the idea of modular bases, or even if you're used to just the idea of using the end menu and the connect to base function here, you can expand this as you need to, as you play and as you go. So I think, yeah, for the cost of a few inconveniences, you can have a very, very good looking base there, and it is pretty cheap as well. Actually, it's mostly made out of plastic. So if you are in an area where you're going to get hit by drones, you're going to want to get some guns very, very quickly, and you want to upgrade to a shield also very quickly as well. But yeah, at tier 2, it shouldn't be too long before you can actually get something like that. So thank you very much, Kith'saa. That's the HF TMP outpost, available on the Steam Workshop. As always, guys, links down below in the video description. Check them out, and if you like the build, make sure you hit that rate up button and really help the creator out as well. Next up is this little beast here. This is the Shiv by Excalibur, and yeah, this is a starter SV if you hadn't realized already. This thing is amazingly cheap, and you know, actually for a starter SV performs pretty damn well. Obviously tier 1, so just the core in there. Let's power her up and see how she performs. Now, she's got an amazing lift, but this is dry weight, of course. So, but yeah, you've got 7 small thrusters on the bottom there, which are going to lift that quite easily. But as you'll notice, let me turn the HUD back on a second. The max speed is a whopping 30 meters a second, which isn't amazing, but then you're only using small thrusters. But what I liked about Excal's work here is that he's added in spaces and areas for you to upgrade things. So you might have noticed this sort of trussing on the bottom here is a great place to put a constructor. You've got some trussing, if I just clip into here above each of these thrusters, which means you can upgrade them to mediums. Now obviously the more you upgrade this thing, the more you're probably going to have to consider CPU, so there are little spaces around where you can add extra things like CPU extenders to get T2 and stuff like that. But ultimately, you've got a little bit of ammo, you've got an armor locker, an O2 station, which I didn't realize they changed the model of, by the way. That looks amazing. Well, I'll show you later. A fridge, obviously, and like you said, you can add a constructor in there when you're ready and upgrade its thrusters also when you're ready. On the front here, we've got 2 GATs, and that is going to enable you to really start taking out some drones very early on in the game, because this thing costs nothing. That's it. 243 carbon substrate. The hardest thing there is probably the copper, but if you find one small copper deposit, you're gonna get that no problem, and there's usually a copper deposit very close to the starting area, so you could actually opt for this SV before you get HV if that's your playstyle, because it unlocks at level 5, of course. So yeah, very nice, and it doesn't look half bad either. Yeah, just very good build. Good effort, great little first SV to get you mobile and up in the air very early on. But that's pretty much it. That is the Shiv. That's by Excalibur, and as always, link down below in the video description. Thank you, Excalibur. Number 3 on our list, in the complete opposite side of the spectrum here, is a full-on top tier, top level assault tank, and this is the Maelstrom Mark II by Styx Limits. And I'm sorry if I've not pronounced that correctly, but you've got a weird name, so yeah, don't look at me. Styx Limits, I think. This is unlock level 20, a size class 1 hover vessel, hover tank. It's CPU tier 4, of course, because it's armed to the bleeding teeth. Yeah, this thing is an absolute monster weapon-wise, but you've got tier 4 requirements, so it's going to be very late game. Cost-wise, it's actually pretty damn cheap, though. It's quite light as well, at a whopping 60 tons. This is dry weight, and with the thrusters on this thing, it's going to move like crazy. You can see you've got some T2Ms tucked away in there, as well as some smalls. Otherwise, it's covered in jet thrusters and things like that. Now, this does have a shield, and you're going to need it, because the armor profile of this thing is not great. You're not going to be able to take hits on this for very long at all. So my general recommendation, if you are using this tank, is as soon as those shields go down, get the hell out of there. Also, use the tank's amazing maneuverability and long-range firepower to kind of outmaneuver and outrange the target you're hitting, and you'll do absolutely fine. You've got good strafe, good back, forward, in every direction. You've got good speed and maneuverability. And with a full complement of weapons, with device limits turned on, of course, I don't think there's going to be a POI out there that's really going to put up much of a fight. But yeah, looks-wise, it looks pretty good as well. I like the shaping, it's sleek. It's pretty stylish. The color scheme is nice and neutral. It's pretty cool with unique features. I like the way the GATs are laid out. I also like the way the cockpit is laid out, although from a functional tank point of view, it's not great because it's right at the front. So if you think about it, when shots starts coming in on this thing, they're going to start hitting these GATs first, followed by this turret. As soon as that turret's down, and these two on the side as well, it's going to hit, weirdly, an O2 tank, and that's probably going to take a thruster or two with it. And after that, really, the next target for any guns is you, the pilot. You're the next on the list. So from a purely tanking point of view, there are some flaws in its design, but like I said, its firepower, speed, maneuverability, and the fact that it has a shield generator should keep you alive, especially if you're sensible. If you're being reckless, then you're being reckless. Inside, you've got all the mod cons. You've got you've got a med chamber, clone chamber as well. There's an O2 station and constructor armor locker back there. Passenger seats, storage at about 7,000, and your CPU extensions at the front here. With the core there, there's your shield generator, more extensions, more storage, or is that ammo? That's the ammo, 3,000, which is plenty, and of course the pilot seat at the front there. But yeah, nicely textured, nicely shaped. I love the sort of rounded corridor look in here. Texturing's great as well. So Very nice looking tank, and if used correctly, I imagine would be more than a match for any PvE experience you might have. That is the Maelstrom Mark II, and that is by Styx Limits. Again, sorry for the pronunciation. It's link as always down below, guys. Check it out and rate up if you like it. Next up, we're up in space, and this is the SMX Small Mining CV by Dan Bolo, and this is an Unlocks 25, obviously, because it's got mining lasers on it, size class 1, and CPU, amazingly, tier 2, and this is exactly why I chose this one as well. You've got a 6 drill mining ship here at tier 2. Now yes, it's missing a fair bit of what you would normally expect in a CV. It's got 2 sentries and 2 lasers. That's it. That's its armament. It's tiny. It's got no warp drive. It's got no shield drive whatsoever. So he's made some sacrifices here in order to get those 6 laser drills in as early as possible. Now that's not a problem if you've already got a mothership CV that's got perhaps the shield generators, got the warp drive and the guns and things like that nearby. You can dock this thing into a mothership and only bring it out when you're next to a resource asteroid. So I think this is absolutely brilliant. And it reminds me of the Mosquito by Rustimus, which is has been around for a while, but I don't think he's kept it updated. So this will be like an updated version of the Mosquito, and that was a very popular build as well. Styling wise, I think it's great. I think it's clean, it's sleek. You've got great use of block shapes, textures and symbols going on as well. Clean color scheme. Personally, I like a mining ship to look more industrial. This looks more like a sports car than a mining ship, but I like it all the same. And on the top here, you've actually got a retractable multi-turret as well. I think we can bring that out. There we go. That's pretty good. That's going to open up some more possibilities for you. Cost-wise, pretty damn cheap considering the size. It's not going to cost a great deal. 1200 neodymium. The Erestrum Symposium, probably the most expensive thing there, up at 700, considering how difficult they are to get sometimes. And I would probably keep this thing out of atmosphere, especially with a full load, because lifting wise, you've only got small CV thrusters there. To get in, you've got a nice little boarding ramp at the bottom here. Inside, as you could probably imagine, everything's going to be very, very compact. So you've immediately got a health chamber here, gravity generator, the core, food processor, and an ammo box, just the small normal one. He's managed to strap a advanced constructor on the roof though, which is nice, some extra storage. The ore and wood container amazingly is 320,000 SU, so that is a full whack of storage for ore or whatever you're dismantling with the multi-turret. If we head on upstairs, you've obviously got the bridge here, which is very straightforward and plain. A fridge, which is very handy, O2 armor locker, the CPU extender to bring it up to a whopping tier 2, a shower, and a floating toilet. I'd perhaps swap those around and then maybe they both have a floor. I don't know. I don't think the shower has a floor either, actually. It's either way, you're going to have a floating something, I think, isn't it? Still, it's good to have both, especially if you're not running this thing with a mothership. Yeah, which could be risky. That's pretty good. I mean, it's basic. It's you're not going to be able to do a lot with the interior of this thing block-wise because it's all being used by devices. So I think this is fair enough. And the fact that it's got a gravity generator as well is pretty impressive. Well done for that. Now, when you're running with the lasers, 6 lasers there, you'll notice the power goes from 1.6 to 11. So you're well within power. If we fill the tank up and then fire those off, we go from 800 minutes to 119 minutes. So, you know, as expected, 6 laser drills are going to drain the batteries quickly, and there's not a huge amount of fuel in this thing. So you're going to have to be a bit careful and keep an eye on your fuel use, and that's why I would once again recommend it's used with a mothership in tow, or, you know, towing this around. But yeah, fantastic little beast and very cheap. Tier 2! I can't stress it enough. The tier 2 mining CV. Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Dan Bolo. Yeah, once again, that's the SMX small mining CV tier 2 by Dan Bolo. Now, number 5 on our list is a real treat, I think. This is the Kith'saa RC01 by Kith'id. Again, guy that created the outpost, the very first item on our list. I think it's safe to say that this guy has got some talent in his little finger here, because yeah, you're noticing a sort of pattern with his builds. They're just bloody good looking, aren't they? This is, I don't know really what to call it. It's a utility ship. It's got 6 mining lasers, but it comes in 2 parts, and I'll show you the second part in a little while. But this bit here that we're looking at the front here is an asymmetrical mining pod that just so happens to also be the cab of an articulated lorry. Basically, it's a big rig. It's a big rig because that whole section on the back there is a separate CV that is docked to this front section here. And the whole principle of this blueprint is that you mine and you drill and you manufacture with the front bit, and then you store it all in the back bit, and then when you need to, you can take the back bit off and dock it to something else or whatever. But instantly, I'm like, visually, this thing is an incredible piece of work. You're like, wow, this is industrial, this is utilitarian, it's a mining ship. You definitely get the look and feel of it from the texturing, the block shapes, the coloring that he's used. There's no mistaking the utility function of this vessel from its looks. I don't know where to start really on this thing, to be honest. I love the piping. The piping to the drills is brilliant. The fact that he's used these kind of rounded shapes here to make this look like it folds out and moves looks incredible. The lights, the LCD work. I don't know where you're supposed to get in. I'll be honest, I'm not sure where the entrance is. There's a little balcony on the front. I guess that's a way in. But yeah, obviously without the CV docked to the back there's definitely a way in through the doors. These ones here lets you go inside. But yeah, that's it's very clever looking. Right, practically though, what have we got? Let's go in by the balcony door here. Everything inside here is going to be fairly compact, just to let you know. There is a container controller in here with a 200,000 though. And here we go, we're inside. This is the second level. This is this deck here. Left we've got medical, right we've got onboard ore processing. So yeah, we've got 2 small constructors in there which would be able to actually start refining ore into ingots fairly cheaply, albeit a little bit slowly. But yeah, everything looks good. You've got nice use of blocks, colors, and everything. Again, starting to notice a pattern here. This is the ore and wood container for the drills, and it's a whopping 320,000 SUs of storage. And yes, we've got some medical here. We've got a O2 station and the actual medical chamber here as well. Not full medical though, just the chamber. And again, some of nice works with the fuel tanks and stuff like that as well. If we head back into, actually let's go into the bridge first. Yes, let's go to the bridge. And those LCDs are actually floating on the outside, I think. Yeah, these ones are, look. And then these ones are in the middle. That's clever, isn't it? Very nice, very good. Little makeshift heads-up display. Very good. Yeah, nice little bridge. Okay, if we head back into our elevator though and head up, and we come to the core room with the extensions. We can access that through that door. Bit of storage, Wi-Fi, and some trussing, which we can, I guess we can add more stuff to. More CPU extenders if we need to. Generator room, looks nice. O2, and that's it. That's it. That's the entire ship. But like I said before, this does come in tow with. So if you actually go to the workshop page of this build, there's a link to this other CV here. which is a storage CV, and it's got 320,000 storage bins, plus a lot more. So we've got little doors. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's not actually about this. This is a very nice addition to it. It's got shields as well. I mean, this thing's got shields. The thing that's towing it doesn't. All right, it's a maze. It's an absolute maze. We've got generator rooms. Yeah. Anyway, the whole idea with this thing is that you dock it to the back. I'm just trying to find the cockpit. There it is. Turn it on, back it off, and there you go. You've got these little green LED things here which guide you in to dock. That's why these doors were so perfectly lined up, because you line it up with these little target things and you can dock it back. There you go. I'll leave the engines on, but perfectly docked. Very nice. And then the only thing is that the engine capacity of the pod at the front is significantly less than the cargo module on the back. So in space you're fine. This is dry weight as well. The more weight you add, the slower it will become. But I had a bit of difficulty getting this off planet, if I'm completely honest. Even with dry weight, it would only go up to about 20 meters a second, I think. So I would say that the pod on the front here, the Kith'saa, does require a bit of an engine upgrade, especially I would say in lift. But if you're only using it in space, which I think it is what it's designed for, because there is no entrance on the ground here. If you take this thing on the ground, I don't know how you're going to get out of it or into it. If you're in space, you'll be fine. But yeah, it just looks incredible. Amazing work once again. Cool. The Kith'saa by our lad Kith'id, who's pretty good at building, it seems. Thank you, Kith'id. As always, links down below. Next up is the OD30 dropship by Saluzdacore. This is an unlock level 15, size class 3 SV at CPU tier 3. We should all be familiar with Saluzdacore's builds. They just look magnificent, and this is no exception. This is a SV, believe it or not, and it's designed to lift and shift hover vessels. And it's got a very interesting color scheme, and he's used that camo texture, which is very brave indeed. Actually, quite ballsy, and it mostly works. I think. I don't know. I think he's done better color schemes and stuff. But anyway, this is a brilliant looking ship, and it's, like I said, designed to lift and shift hover vessels, and they go on under here and you dock them underneath, and we'll do that in a second with the Maelstrom that we saw earlier. We'll see if we can dock that and lug it around a bit. Visually, yeah, it's a Saluzdacore build. You're gonna get some amazing style, some amazing details. Just look at around these thrusters. I don't even know what block shape some of this is. Yeah, very clever use of blocks, very clever use of shapes, of textures, color. Yeah, it looks good. It looks very good. You've got some signal logic in here as well, so makes a lot of noise, but those shutters will open up space for upgrades. So you can add extra fuel tanks in there or something else entirely. And this one, you've got space for a shield, a warp drive as well. So you can upgrade it, and again another slot here where you can upgrade some more stuff. So although at the moment it is down at tier 3, if you want to add warp and shields and stuff, you will need to add the extenders in to bring it up to tier 4. It's at 33,000 at the moment, which will let you go up for another sort of probably about 10,000 before it starts really affecting the CPU efficiency. But yeah, it's got a lot of lift. You've got 6.94 meganewtons of lift, 635 tons it will lift quite easily on its current thrust level. That's a lot of tonnage, even with HVs. I mean, the Maelstrom over here is what was it? Is a whopping 60 tons dry weight, So yeah, I think we're going to have absolutely no problem lifting a tank, 2 tanks. The only problem I say is that it's too small to lift some of the bigger HVs. You can definitely get a mid-sized miner in there, or even something like the Maelstrom, which is a relatively small tank in the grand scheme of things. But there's not a huge amount of space between the struts here on this SV to fit anything bigger. So that's my primary concern with this. But I brought it in because A, it's an SV designed to lift HVs, B, it's a cylindrical build, therefore it's absolutely stunning, and the effort that's gone into it definitely calls for some praise, I think. And I just, yeah, love these things that look like they rotate and move and stuff. It's just very, very clever use of blocks and texturing. It's just on a level that's beyond me, it really is. It actually took me a little while to find where the cockpit is on this thing. I was looking under and all over the place. I thought it might be in here, but it's not in there. Yeah, it took me a good old while to figure out that the cockpit is actually stashed in one of the side spontoons, or whatever you want to call them, just here. So let me come out of God mode, and yeah, this is the cockpit, amazingly. So an asymmetrical design as well, to an extent. Cockpit's tucked away at the front here. You've got armor lockers, and I always love about cylindrical designs is it takes you a while to find where everything is, because he's hidden it in clever little spaces in the roof ceilings, in cleverly placed blocks and things like that. You know, it's the constructor is actually encased in these sort of half blocks and stuff. And yeah, it's just quite fun, really. There's an O2 station up there. Armor lockers. Ramp door on signal logic, and there we go. Also some storage over here as well, so there's a good 3,000 of it there. There was more in the cockpit as well. This is very well equipped, and it can lift 600 tons. Let's see, because this is a 60 ton, so this is a whole 10% of what it can actually lift. Now I've haphazardly strapped a docking block on the top of this tank. Now it's docked. Back in the SV. Ah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's got some fairly good lifting capacity there. Pretty good. That is the OD30 dropship. That's by Saluzdacore, of course it is, because yeah, it just looks fantastic. Thank you very much, Saluzdacore, as always, sir. Link down below in the video description, guys. Check it out if you like. Rate up. Now here we have the Atlas Heavy Lifter, and this is by Blasthaver, and this is an unlock level 20 size class 3 CPU tier 4 SV. Yes, this is an SV that is also a HV lifter, or a heavy lifter, for docking stuff too, and getting it off planet and all sorts of stuff. This thing is, well, it's very similar to the last SV that we just saw by Saluzdacore, except it's much bigger, and it can lift a lot more as well. If we have a look at the old statistics here, we can see that this bad boy can lift a whopping 1.49 kilotons under its wings. That's astonishing. That's a lot of tanks if you could fit them in there. Or what I think might be better as a cargo lifter, if you've got some hovervessel cargo pods that you've filled up or can fill up, and this thing can lift them up into orbit for you. It's pretty expensive though for an SV, but you know, it's not outside the realms of possibility, and it is unlock level 20, so by that time you're probably going to have good access to resources anyway. If you're in the market for a heavy lifter, then this might be the one for you. It's very industrial looking. I gotta say, I actually quite like the color scheme. I think the texturing is a little bit over the top in areas, but is otherwise good. The use of block shapes and different types of blocks is good. I love the little wings and fins that it's got coming out everywhere. There's some good piping there, and the overall shape and look of the vessel is pretty good, I'd say. I quite like the cockpit. It's got a double glass kind of arrangement, but it's sort of shielded from the top. It looks pretty sweet. And yeah, more sort of fins and wings and stuff look good as well. It's armed as well, which is also a benefit 4 GATs, whereas the Seleucid cores was completely unarmed. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, this thing's got some serious engine power. Serious engine power. Have a look in. We've got some nice functionals there. We've got an O2 station, constructor, and there's a warp drive on the roof as well. Fridges, armor lockers, and everything you kind of need in an SV. And then we've got our cockpit here with passenger seat as well. Again, I think maybe the texturing is slightly over the top, but otherwise the color scheme is nice. It's a good balance. 3000 ammo capacity, which is more than enough for a few GATs. Let's power on, and we've got a few switches in here. Some nice LCD work on the passenger seat as well, and there's that double glass cockpit. So pretty good. Nice little compact, useful cockpit. But ultimately, like I say, this thing is in the market to lift stuff off the ground. I'm just wondering, what's the heaviest thing that I've got in my library? So I've just spawned in my old Cargo Line LT1, which is a little cargo hover vessel I was messing around with when Weights and Volumes first come out. I'm not playing with CPU enabled at the moment, although we're looking at it. And this thing weighs in when it's full of Zascosium ore at the moment, so it's weighing in at 96 tons. If I can maneuver this underneath, there we go. So it's docked, right? So that's 100 tons, let's say, round it up, and it flings it around like it's a toy. Yeah, I mean, it's using a fair old amount of power. We're at 75 power usage down the bottom right, you can see. But I mean, I'm flinging this around like very recklessly, and it's not breaching 100%. So yeah, that's amazing. That is pretty damn good. That's the Atlas Heavy Lifter, and that is by Blasthaver, and that thing will lift the world, it would seem. I mean, it's got another 1.39 kilotons of cargo lift available in its current thrust capacity. Insane. No wonder it's tier 4, right? 97,000 CPU, which means there is no CPU left to add a shield to this thing. It will be unshielded. And it is made of standard steel blocks, it seems. So somewhat vulnerable if you're getting shot at. But boy, can it lift stuff. So yeah, very nice, very good, excellent. Thank you very much, Blasthaver, as always. Link down below. Next up, we have the Nexus, and this is by Kith'saa MEX, and this is a level 20 unlock, size class 7, and tier 4, as you probably guessed, CPU. And I chose this. This has got some really cool, unique use of block shapes, coloring, texturing, and things like that. And it's also a very, very good base for multiplayer, I thought. And it might be nice to include a bit of multiplayer stuff in here for you multiplayer nerds out there. So yeah, this is a fairly big base, and as you can see, it's pretty well armed. And I do like the sort of style of it. It's quite cool that he's got a lot of glowies and shinies, and use of the sort of rounded half blocks and fins and stuff. It looks pretty sweet. You've got full solar, plenty of space for SVs on the roof, and as you've probably already noticed as well, it's armed to the teeth, the full complement of weapons. It also has a repair bay and a little repair greenhouse for the repair station, but inside is an enormous amount of space. You go through the door, it is one bloody big hangar bay, and so this is why I thought it might be quite good for multiplayer co-op. And you've got plenty of space to store all your vehicles. And this space does come with all the mod cons. It is tier 4, so it's got full shields, full weapons, and a crap load of storage and production facilities as well. There's 6 constructors along that wall, and each one of these containers is a whopping 320,000 SU. So, apart from that one, which is 288. Sorry, didn't notice that before. And that one. But the rest are 320,000, so there we go. Plenty of space to store and manufacture stuff is the point. And overall, the shaping of stuff of the blocks isn't bad in here. You've got some good shaping going on. The texturing and color scheme, perhaps questionable. But But he has color coded the areas of production, so different colors for the different storage. You've got deconstructor, the furnace is red, the green for armor lockers and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So that's the reason for the rando colors, I think, is just color coding stuff. There's your shield generator and pentaxid tank nicely stashed away there. You've even got land claim and offline protection, definitely required for multiplayer bases. There's just a lot of space in here, basically. You've got some crew, bit of RP value in the quarters here, full medical over here. Up the lift or elevator, we have got a huge amount of garden space, which is absolutely needed for multiplayer. Plenty of plots to grow your food and your fiber and stuff like that. Down here, you've got a nice space here for anything you like. More grow plots or a way to get underground. And your armor lockers, another medical repair O2. Everything a growing faction needs to raid a server. And that's why I included the Nexus in this list. It's a pretty unique looking base, and I think a very good place to start for any faction. So that's the Nexus, and that's by Kith'saa MEX. Just quickly, let's have a quick look at the cost. We're looking at 10,000 iron, so it is a mostly steel construction. Yeah, it's bit expensive, but doable, especially for a faction. Everything else I think is very easy to come by, not bad at all. So thank you very much, Kith'saa MEX, for the Nexus, as always, link down below. Next up is an incredibly unique build. This is the Rack Hive, and this is by Stubert, and I've actually racked it up with some of the modular CVs that it comes with. So actually each one of these vertical looking I don't know what to call them really, UFOs, discs, they're actually CVs, they're individual ones that have been docked to the Hive, the center Hive here, which is the blue ship, a big boy. And so basically this is your modular CV. This is the Rack Hive itself, which is an unlock level 20, size class 6, and of course tier 4 CPU. Up at 5.9 million, so there is scope to upgrade or add to. And cost-wise, it's going to set you back what you'd expect a large CV to set you back. Except there's quite a lot missing from this CV, and that's because it's done by these modular components, and each of these components undocks and can be docked and things like that, and used in specific ways to complement the mothership, which is what the whole CPU and docking to docking was supposed to achieve. So well done, Stubert, thank you very much for this build. It's very unique, and yeah, you got some great piping going on along here. Look at this. Love that use of truss as well, very nice. Put a lot of effort into the undercarriage here. I think it looks fantastic. And we've got a few guns and stuff laid out. Use of the color scheme, black and blue, is pretty good. Easy to swap out whatever color scheme you prefer. And you have actually got space in here for a hover vessel leading into the constructors and storage and stuff. And on top, a couple of SVs and a door here leading into the central elevator that takes you to all floors. Before we go further into the inside though, I'll show you what these things actually, well, each one of these, I'm not going to go through each one fully, but this one is a hover vessel lifter carrier. This is the mining ship. I think I've put it in the wrong place. Sorry, Stu. Yeah, there's the mining ship. The lasers are not deployed at the moment. You've got a cargo vessel here with some extra cargo storage in there, and at the front here you've got a combat vessel which has got some extra armor and more guns than you can shake a stick at. So there we go. That's the 4 ships that you can dock with it, all with their unique roles. And I'll show you how we get in and out of those in a second. Let's go through from the HV level, which is the lowest level. So obviously we've got constructors in here. There's some storage bins up here as well at 240,000. Yep, each. Some extras. The usual sort of mod cons, O2, medical, repairs, armors, into that. You've actually got another entrance at the bottom here, comes out, and well, there's your shield generator as well, so you're nice and protected. This is the central elevator that goes to the whole ship, up and down. We're going to stay on this level quickly though, come out of God mode, and we'll walk around. I'm hoping there's oxygen on this ship, because this is actually survival mode. Yeah, there is, it's fine. I'll start suffocating. So along this corridor is where all of our docked ships are, the modular ships, and we can just go up into one of these. This is the HV transport one. So now we're actually outside, I think. And you'll need your jetpack for this bit, I think. There we go. Power this one on. And our outside view is a bit restricted. But if we just press forward, we undock from there. And there you go. And well, with this one, we can maneuver it to the back of the ship. And then maneuver the HV from the HV bay back there into our little HV loader. And we could take this down on planet rather than this huge hunk of steel. And that's pretty much how it works. So along this corridor, you've got all the other capital vessels that you can jump into. And then this leads into some crew quarters. Either side, some storage, and then up into where you've got an engineering section and the warp drive. And there we go, that's pretty much it. Nice use of little heavy glass with the lighting in there, I like that, that's quite a good touch. And of course, piping. Piping fixes everything, it makes everything good. So there we go. Let's head right all the way back. So I know I'm rushing this, guys. It's just because we're already quite far into this video, and this is a big old boat. Anyway, as we go up the elevator, we've got fuel, pentaxid. We've got access to the shield generator and access through more shutter doors and little engineering bays which have access to the engines. There you can directly access them. Up another floor, more engine access. That's a big old thruster. CPU extenders here as well. 2 tanks. Continue on. Oh, hang on. That goes out to our SV bays. Continue on up, and we've got our closed bridge, combat bridge if you like. There's some red alert lights flashing away, and up even further, and we've got the main bridge, of course, with plenty of glass to get smashed, and we've got LCDs everywhere. Look, very nice. Quantum inverter on, pentaxid injection loading. I like it, Stu. It's got a diagonal screen here with the Globe News. Terriers raid on local Talon populist. Local Akua dancer to sue mayor. Brilliant. Very good. I'll let you guys read that. But yeah, a nice little use of comedy in there as well. We've got the docking LCDs. You can actually turn off those big floating LCDs out there. That's quite good. That'll be handy. And spare, which is a spare switch. It doesn't do anything at the moment. You can make it do whatever you want. Docking commencing. There we go. That is a pretty unique beast. Thank you very much, Stu. I was actually working on a very similar design myself. And now it'll look like I copied you, so thank you. Nah, very cool design, very, very unique build, and very well done. Like I said, yeah, unlock level 20, size class 6, costs a bit, CPU tier 4, and a max thrust signal logic in there as well. Thank you very much, Stu, but very cool. That is the Rack Hive by Stu, and if you head to the link down below for that, there will be the link to all the little modular CVs that come with it as well. And don't forget to rate up if you like. Last on our list is this small little beast, the SI Hawk X5 by Momo. This is an unlock level 5, size class 1, of course, CPU tier 1, of course, SV. It's cheap as chips. It's so ridiculously cheap. This would be a great little scout. Now, it does have some problems, which I'll come into in a minute, but from the offset, this thing is an aerodynamic flight SV. It doesn't have directional thrusters in all directions, only forward and up. It's also completely unarmed. But you know, I assume you can add some guns to it and stuff. This flatbed sort of look on the top there is so that you can dock it to other things quite easily. Yeah, let's give her a spin, shall we? Because ultimately that's the main thing with this. We've got fuel, power's on. Now we've got a VTOL mode. If we turn the VTOL mode off, we can actually go up with VTOL and stuff like that, which is quite nice. But I notice that I'm sort of hitting C, and although there's a little bit of downward when hitting C, ultimately I have to turn the VTOL off and let the ship sort of fall to the ground again. Now this main function is with the forward. Now if you hit forward, you get some lift with the wings and you can take off, and we've actually got a very reasonable roll here, but you have to be careful using it, because if you spend too much time upside down or on your side, you kind of fall out of the sky a little bit. You do have to be a bit careful, but ultimately the whole thing just flies on the sort of loose basic aerodynamic, not really aerodynamic function of the game. And as you travel far forward and you've got this sort of flat base of the bottom of the ship, creates lift, and you can fly with just lift. Now we turn the HUD on and we turn inertia off completely, it should just sort of drift forward around until it comes to a slow stop, and then it will slowly fall to the ground. And that's how you stop it and park it, basically. It just takes a little bit more finesse and patience. But as a result, you can fly this thing on biofuel, and you can get around fairly quickly at topping out at 41 meters a second there. Not bad. That's alright as a scout, and of course this is tier 1 as well, so you don't need any extensions to it. Now that is it pretty much. Now there is some storage in there, 1125 of storage, but like I said, what I would like to see this craft be used for, or part of, is a mobile base hovercraft. How cool would this be to be slung on top of or inside of a hover vessel somehow, and then you just sort of jump into it and have a little scout around at minimal fuel cost, and then you know which direction to go in your hover vessel. That's the sort of thing I'd like to see this thing used for, really. But it's otherwise very basic. But it's well put together. It's reasonable. It does its job. It looks alright. And like I said, it's cheap as chips. And if you want to give a very sort of efficient play style a go, this will be one that you would like, I think. And that's the Hawk X5, and that's by Momo. So thank you very much, Momo. I think we featured Momo before, and all of his builds are incredibly sort of basic, efficient, utilitarian, but also pretty sleek and good looking as well. So nice one, Momo. A link as always down below. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list of 10 blueprints, CPU compliant. Let me know down in the comments whether you use these builds, what builds you do use, what builds you think should have been on the list, or maybe even shouldn't have been on the list in your opinion. But as always, I appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye bye.